The Premier League is back. Excitement is building as fans get to see some of their new signings in action for the very first time. It's been an incredible window so far, and it just keeps on getting better and better. Nottingham Forest ramp up their business as they try to bring in 4 new players. Coming up on today's show, Jadon Sancho is wanted by several clubs, but could Roma be his next destination? Eddie Howe is trying to strengthen his squad. We'll hear from the Newcastle boss at 9:30 this morning as they try to bring in Jacob Ramsey. And Chelsea have bought and sold well in this window, but there is still plenty of work to do. Enzo Maresca is coming up later for you this hour. Here we go then, the start of the new season. Has your team done enough in the market? So much to discuss today in the company of European football expert Andy Brassel and our reporter Mark McAndrews confirmed yesterday that Yoane Wissa will not be part of the squad for their Premier League opener against Nottingham Forest. The forward does remain of interest to Newcastle. Mark, are these two things linked? Could Dango's impending arrival at Brentford pave the way for Wissa to go to Newcastle?
If you speak to anyone at Newcastle, they'll say yes. You speak to anyone at Brentford, they'll say no. As far as Brentford are concerned, Dango Ouattara is the replacement for Bryan Mbeumo, not Yoane Wissa. Whereas Newcastle fans will say, no, now they've got Dango, we can get Yoane Wissa. We know that there is an interest there. There has been a rejected offer by Brentford from Newcastle for Yoane Wissa. We know that he's going into the last year of his contract, although the club do hold an additional club option year. So essentially he's got 2 years left on his deal. We know he left the Portugal pre-season tour early. He's expressed his disappointment to the club about not being given the opportunity to play for a club in Newcastle where he wants to go. He's getting to the latter stages of his career. He's only 29. I don't want to, age him too much, but he wants this opportunity to play at a huge club. He wants to play Champions League football, which Newcastle have, of course, this season. He's made it quite clear where he would like to go. But ultimately, Brentford's stance has been, A, we'll only sell you for the price that we're comfortable with and what we feel is fair market value. And also, we don't want to lose a key player of our first team who was so instrumental to what we've done over the last few years. So there has been a lot of friction between the player and the hierarchy at the football club. Keith Andrews was talking about it, and you sense his frustration. As a former player himself, he'll understand it because he was in those moments where he got the opportunity to move and earn bigger money and play at different levels and for different sides. You'd imagine there will be a little bit more of a softening on Brentford's stance now that they've got someone through the door, but ultimately it's still going to be about getting the price that they want for a player who's important to them, key first team player. So yeah, let's wait and see how things develop. I'd imagine it would happen. Yoane Wissa will probably be one of the final pieces of the Newcastle jigsaw. Not to say that that's their window complete, but he's certainly a big player there alongside Will Osula and Alexander Isak. So yeah, it just feels like it's moving into place.
OK, let's stay with Newcastle then, because it's been a challenging summer for the club, but they could be close to confirming a second major signing in just the space of a few days. Jacob Ramsey arrived in Newcastle last night to complete a move from Aston Villa. Eddie Howe's news conference, by the way, is coming up for you at 9:30. Transfer update. Roma have made a permanent bid for Manchester United forward Jadon Sancho, worth £20 million. United forward Rasmus Højlund is open to a move to AC Milan, according to our colleagues at Sky in Italy. 18-year-old centre-back Giovanni Leone will have a medical at Liverpool after a £26 million deal was agreed with Parma. Jacob Ramsey has landed in the northeast to finalise his potential £43 million move to Newcastle United from Aston Villa. Roma have opened talks over the signing of Leon Bailey from Villa. Nottingham Forest are ramping things up. They've had bids accepted for Amari Hutchinson and James McAtee, and have approached Juventus to sign Douglas Luiz and Rennes Arnaud Kalimiondu. And Yoane Wissa will not be part of the Brentford squad for their Premier League opener against Forest on Sunday. Wissa has made it clear he wants to leave the club to join Newcastle. Don't forget, you can keep across all the latest information as it happens on our dedicated Transfer Centre blog. Just scan the QR code, which is on your screen right now. Thomas Frank throughout the day on Sky Sports News. But right now, we're going to have a look at some players that you may think Premier League clubs should be looking at signing. Andy, let's start with PSG's Bradley Barcola, who started in the Super Cup win over Tottenham on Wednesday.
I think this is a very, very difficult deal to do, but you can understand why there's Premier League interest. Still only 22, of course, going to turn 23 in September. His pace and his altruism for a forward of that age, his ability to create for others. He did that for Lacazette at Lyon. Then when he went to PSG, he did that for Kylian Mbappe as well. Now, he started last season really as more of a goal scorer. Things changed when Kvisha Kvaratskhelia came on, when Desiree Doué became part of that front three. So there's a sense that his position in the hierarchy has changed, and that has encouraged Premier League teams to have a go. PSG still want to extend his contract, so a difficult deal to do, but Premier League clubs would be daft not to ask, wouldn't they?
There'll be a few clubs looking at him surely over the next few days, wouldn't they?
Yeah, he's the type of profile that Premier League sides like. They want people that are a bit younger, who they can develop, mould, buy low, sell high. And he's clearly got that ability that Andy's mentioned there. And I think he could be the type of player that has the right profile for the Premier League. So maybe not this summer, but you can imagine at some stage there will be those conversations that are being had. OK, let's stay in Ligue 1. And you've also picked out Lyon winger Malik Fofana. Why do you think he would be a good fit for English football?
He's so fast. He is so fast. And I think when people talk about Belgium not having the players to replenish their stocks from the golden generation, come on, look at this guy. He's the exception that proves the rule, I think. Someone who came over to Lyon when he was only 18. They spent a decent chunk of change on him, but if they sold him tomorrow, they could make a massive profit. They know there's a lot of interest in the Premier League. He's clocked as the fastest player in Ligue 1 last season. Good on either wing, better on the left, adding goals to his game, very, very composed. Really good vision in bringing others into play as well. He's good now, and I reckon in 2 years you're looking at one of the best wide players in Europe.
And in terms of somebody who could maybe be one of the best strikers in Europe in a couple of years' time, let's get to Portugal. Porto striker Samu, very close to joining Chelsea last summer. Is he ready to come to the Premier League now?
He absolutely is, and I think he was last summer, to be honest, James. And it was really surprising to Atletico Madrid how that deal sort of fell apart. But I think Porto did really well to get in there. They bought half of his economic rights, one of the first signings they made with André Villas-Boas as the president. He was brilliant last season. He started this season really, really well. 2 goals in the first league game. And the sort of goals he scores makes you wonder, why isn't every club in the Premier League all over him? You can't really say sure thing in terms of the Premier League, but at just 21, he's someone who's absolutely impossible to stop in the air. He's got great instinct in the 6-yard box. He's improving his all-round game. This is someone with a huge, huge upside.
He's got a big release clause. That's where the stumbling block is. There is Premier League interest, but the big release clause makes it difficult. So clubs will have to go to Porto and say, let's have a conversation. We know there's the release clause in place. However, we can't quite get there, but...
No one's getting there.
Yeah.
No.
So therefore, that makes it a tricky deal to make happen. But there is definite, firm Premier League interest.
And bear in mind, the only player to score more goals than him in Portugal last season, Victor Gyökeres.
And we know where he's gone. Now, right, Samu's Porto teammate Diogo Costa has consistently been linked with a move away from the club. Are you surprised he's still in Portugal? Because we've spoken about him over a number of different transfer windows.
A little bit, James, but I think there are 2 issues here. Firstly, the fact that, again, he's got an absolutely huge release clause, 80 million euros. The other thing is, goalkeepers are perpetually undervalued in the market, aren't they? It's really difficult to shift goalkeepers for big fees, as we're seeing with Gigi Donnarumma at the moment, even though he's only got a year left on his contract. Look, what I like most about Diogo Costa, if we're looking at someone who's good with his feet, he's up there. He's someone who wants to come off his line and take control, which immediately lends him to the Premier League, where you don't want someone who's a shrinking violet in the penalty box. He's someone who saves up to 40% of the penalties that he faces, which is pretty amazing. So we know he's a great shot stopper as well. But I guess that is the thing, that no one's been prepared to go all the way. We talked about the release clauses in Portugal being perpetually high and just a negotiating position. Porto want most of it. They know how good he is, and he's a real leader as well.
OK, finally, Belgian striker Lois Openda has already seen his former RB Leipzig teammate Benjamin Sesko head to Manchester United. For him personally, he'll be thinking, maybe I want to move as well.
Yeah, I think he is thinking that. And I think in terms of goals, he's more of a guarantee than Sesko. Scored a lot of goals to get Lens to within a point of winning the title a couple of seasons ago in France, which is obviously a huge achievement. A great movement, super intelligent, great playing in a 1-2 touch team, and a terrific finisher with both feet. So a very different sort of striker to his old teammate Šeško. There are a lot of teams who should be looking at him. RB Leipzig, they paid 50 million euros for him, a fee of up to 50 million euros. If you were paying 50 million pounds for him, I think that would be very, very acceptable.
OK, thank you very much. We'll be back with Mark McAdam and Andy Brassel later on at 12 o'clock for Transfer Talk. We talk about some of the players that have already moved to the Premier League. The likes of Diakite, Frimpong and Florian Wirtz, who will be in action tonight. Liverpool taking on Bournemouth at the start of the new Premier League season, the biggest ever Premier League season here on Sky Sports. That gets underway from 8 p.m. But up next is the Sky Sports fan club, Tom White and Charlie Austin. They'll be discussing everything you need to know ahead of the start of the new Premier League season. And throughout the day, we're hearing from every single Premier League manager as the new campaign gets underway. Stay with us on Sky Sports News.